Already on to the next episode. This episode I'm actually looking forward to reviewing more than last week's episode. This is Griffin The Brush Off. This episode starts out with Pinkie Pie really annoying the heck out of Twilight, and Twilight is just not having it. She's just trying her best to ignore it and stay in her book when Rainbow Dash comes by and Pinkie Pie finally catches the heck out. Pinkie Pie continues to chase after Rainbow Dash, but Rainbow Dash just doesn't want to deal with Pinkie for some reason. This is something I don't get. Why is Rainbow Dash acting like she doesn't like Pinkie Pie? I can get like the average pony or something getting annoyed by her, but this is supposed to be your friend. So it's a little jarring seeing her act this way. Rainbow Dash eventually decides to give up and listen to what Pinkie Pie wants her to do. And to her shock, it turns out Pinkie Pie wants to pull a prank on Spike, and then Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie begin to bond over this. And it also leads into probably my favorite joke of the episode.
Pretty much the same thing. We're true scrolls.
Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash wind up going to prank a bunch of ponies around town. They start off with Rarity, jump over to Twilight, and so many others get pranked. It's a good time. It's a fun little montage of them pranking a bunch of different characters. But Pinkie draws the line at Fluttershy. But then she pulls a pretty decent prank on Rainbow Dash instead. We are introduced now to Gilda, a brand new character, which is a Griffin. First time introduced a character like this in the series. And she's really interesting. But we learn a little bit about her and Rainbow Dash's past, the fact that they went to junior flight camp together. But you can already sense that there's going to be some underlying tension here, and that she's gonna cause the conflict of the episode. I do applaud them for introducing her a little late into the episode, not straight away. I do applaud them for that, which is really nice. Rainbow Dash and Gilda go off to have some time to hang out, and eventually Pinkie Pie winds up showing back up, and Gilda is getting clearly annoyed. But Rainbow Dash doesn't seem to notice, and this is when we start to see Gilda's true colors come out, with her starting to bully Pinkie Pie and kind of being a jerk. And it's really doing a good job of making us not like this character. And that's kind of the point, is for us not to like Gilda. And she's just kind of a character that she's made for you not to like. It is a little bothering seeing how much Rainbow Dash doesn't notice the annoyance of Gilda being annoyed by Pinkie Pie or notice the drama, but Pinkie Pie is trying to make the best of the situation, even though Gilda keeps pushing her aside, which some people are actually like this, which I can completely understand. And I have actually, in real life, have seen people like Gilda act this way, and it's highly, highly annoying to see some people act this way. On both sides of the table, there's understanding, but no, Gilda's behavior is not justified at all, but we can also still kind of see where she's coming from, but this is definitely not the way to go about it. Pinkie Pie winds up going to visit Twilight and tells her about the way Gilda's been acting, but Twilight doesn't have the reaction you would expect. But that could be an argument that she's still learning about friendship and doesn't know everything yet, and she is still learning because she hasn't achieved the Princess of Friendship status yet. So she's still learning the friendship and everything. But you can clearly see that Pinky is distraught. And yeah, there probably is some jealousy in there, but there definitely is some worry there for how toxic Gilda is as a character. And I kind of see both sides of the spectrum, but at the same time, I really don't. Gilda winds up going into town after Rainbow Dash has to go and do some errands. And Pinkie Pie notices her being kind of a jerk to the residents of Ponyville, but she keeps thinking, no, everything's fine. I'm just overthinking things, thinking about what Twilight told her. I'm just jealous and I'm just judging when I shouldn't be. But a lot of this is just her being a complete butt. She just doesn't do anything with others' thoughts in mind or their feelings, but Pinkie Pie keeps questioning, like, no, everything's fine, it's okay, until Fluttershy bumps into Gilda.
Please excuse me.
I'm walking here!
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just trying to...
I'm sorry! Why don't you just watch where you're going, doofus?
But I...
Oh, you did not just do that. You did not. You've got to be kidding me. You did not just do that. No one talks like that to Fluttershy, and I'm pretty sure Pinkie Pie agrees with me. Pinkie Pie decides to throw a party in Gilda's honor. And this seems like a way to either set up something or something, but Pinkie Pie throws a bunch of stuff together. There's a whole bunch of games and food and gifts and things like that. And there are also a bunch of pranks, which keep getting set off by Gilda, which leads to a bunch of good physical comedy and a couple good jokes as well. Now this does lead to a interesting moment, and with Gilda finally showing her true colors to everyone, and now Rainbow Dash sees her for the jerk she actually is. And Rainbow Dash doesn't hesitate to tell her off.
Rainbow Dash, I said we're leaving! You know, Gilda, I was the one who set up all those weak pranks at this party. What? Ooh. So I guess I'm Queen Lamo. Come on, Dash, you're joshing me.
Did she seriously just say joshing me? This leads to Gilda leaving and eventually Twilight apologizing to Pinkie Pie for assuming that her accusations were wrong and that Pinkie was just jealous. And then we get our lesson, and it just is a pretty decent closure to a already pretty good episode. So that wraps up Griffin the Brush Off. A pretty interesting episode nonetheless. I've definitely, probably one of my favorites so far of season 1. And there's just a lot to enjoy with this episode. Not really much to hate, except for maybe Twilight's behavior and some of Rainbow Dash's behavior are probably some of the weaker points of the episode. But this episode has some pretty good, decent comedy, some good physical comedy, and not to mention just a really good story overall. It's a lot of just enjoyable moments, and it's just a pretty decent episode nonetheless. I enjoyed this episode. I'd love to know what you guys thought of this episode. But next week, you guys are going to get another review straight away. And gonna actually have a special MLP review for you guys next week.